Greetings, chosen ones. This is a chosen one message and a channeled message. So it's going to be a mixture of channeled messages and some things that tie into scripture. So starting off the bat here, I kept hearing, I miss your fragrance. I wish I could save it. So there's someone here that is definitely missing your fragrance. Now this can be literal smell, how you smell. They remember how you smell. This person could have an article of clothing of something that still has your smell on it, or they just have remembrances of it, or they quite literally dream of your smell. So again, I miss your fragrance. I wish I could save it. There's also something here about a new dawn, a new day. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, and I'm feeling good. So there's that coming through. Isn't that from a... That is from a musical. I'm trying to remember what musical that's from. But I'm also hearing the song, it's a new dawn, or it's a new day, it's a new start, it's alive with the beating of a young heart. So that's Here I Am from the movie Spirit, the Disney horse movie. So really great movie, by the way. The soundtrack is amazing, but that's a Bryan Adams song. So Bryan Adams, someone here could be having a new day, a new start. There could be a fresh move here. There could be something about starting a new morning routine or needing to start a new morning routine here would be really powerful. I also was hearing ebony and ivory, so yin and yang, light and dark, black and white. So there also could be something here about interracial relationships or even intercultural relationships. So this could be someone having a different belief system as you, someone being a different religion as you, someone, yes, maybe quite literally being a different color as you, but there is something here about differences. And I'm hearing differences by Genuine. My whole life has changed since you came in. I knew back when you were that special one. Okay, so someone here is having a remembrance. This can be someone who knew you when you were younger. This can be someone who's known you from the past. This can be someone who also was like friends with someone that you were with or someone that you dated. I also kept hearing nuts and bolts, and then what was interesting is when I was jogging earlier, I actually saw a bolt, and then a couple, like, I don't know, cul-de-sacs down, then I literally saw like metal, like nuts, so nuts and bolts. Someone here could, bolt when the other person goes nuts. Okay, quite literally, R-rated here, but there could be, someone nuts and then they bolt. So there could be a situation here of like a not so great situation for my situationship people or people that are into hookups. It's like someone could be starting over because they realize there's like the same track record or someone has the same track record. I don't know. There's something here if someone is repeating a toxic cycle that needs to close out, that needs to end, and it has to do with the nuts and bolts. So, okay, there's that. Now, what I wanted to speak on today, though, getting into the scriptures that I wanted to talk about, I know, interesting segue, but it just is what it is, right? So, is David and Goliath. I kept actually seeing 7s and 11s, 111, 777, 117, 711, all those numbers, right? I kept seeing 11 and 7, and it's funny because this is actually 1 Samuel 17, which is 117, and this is the story of David and Goliath. And in the story, David wants to kill Goliath, and Saul's like, no, you're too young. Goliath has, he's been fighting since he was young. He's so much stronger than you. He's so much more experienced. You're inexperienced. So for some of you, you could be in a situation where you are fully equipped because God has equipped you to do this mission, but people think that you're too young. They think that you're not equipped for it. They think that you're just unfit for the part, that you're unfit for the job. And so there's something here about discrimination because of your age, discrimination because they think that you're not strong enough or you're going up against, an army that you can't handle, or you're going up against someone that they feel like you can't handle. And further on, Saul's like, okay, fine. So David eventually convinces him because he's like, listen, I was taking care of the sheep. I killed a lion. I killed a bear. He's like, I promise you, I got this. I know I'm meant to do this. Like, I know that I am supposed to be the one who slays Goliath. And so Saul is like, okay, fine. And so Saul dresses David in Saul's armor, and he puts, his helmet on, and David walks around and he's like, I can't do this. He's like, this armor's too heavy. It's going to slow me down. This helmet is uncomfortable. He's like, I can't do this. And so he strips all of it down and he grabs 5 stones and he grabs his, slingshot. And so he goes into this battle, with his 5 stones and his slingshot, and everyone's looking at him and they're like, this kid is crazy. Like, he's not wearing armor. He's young. He's too inexperienced. And what does he do? He triumphs over Goliath by slinging that stone at him. He strikes him down, and he kills him. And it's like, it's one of those things where when you're ordained to do something and you know what you're meant to do, you do it fearlessly because it's not from you, it's not of you, it's of God, it's of your path, it's what you were ordained to do. And so for a lot of my chosen ones, you could be in a field, you could be doing something that people just don't understand. They feel like you're too young, they feel like you don't fit the bill, they feel like, you know, there's just, I don't know, there's something here about criticism. But then I also was hearing, this is from the song Came to Fly by Rihanna and Nicki Minaj, but it goes in with this David and Goliath story. Everybody want to try to box me in, suffocating every time it locks me in, painting their own pictures, then they crop me in. I'm not a girl that could ever be defined. So for a lot of you chosen ones, and you don't have to necessarily be a girl, but for a lot of you, you just can't be defined. You're too multidimensional, you're too multifaceted. And this goes back to, you know, the in Matthew, the many parables. It's like God gave one person one talent, and he's like, okay, you do this talent, and then in exchange you learn another one, and then he gives this other person 2 talents, and he's like, all right, do this, you know, and then in exchange you get 2 more, and then he gives someone like 5, and then he's like, you get 5 more. But it's not a thing of the numbers are being better or worse than or less than. It's just like some people have more things that they're meant to do in life, and some people are just supposed to focus on one area, on one career. Like some people have one career their entire life, and other people will literally switch their career 5 times throughout their life, or 10 times, or they will have 5 careers at once. Now to the man or the woman who's had one career and who's ordained by God to only have one career their entire life, yeah, the person who has 5 jobs at once is going to look chaotic or going to look crazy. They're going to have criticism, but it's not their place to judge. And it's also, you know, it's everyone has their own paths. So for my chosen ones, I'm speaking to someone who definitely has multiple paths here. So in that song, you know, she says, I'm not a girl that could ever be defined. I hear the criticism loud and clear. See, we become alive in the time of fear. And so, you know, it's like when David went into the battle, it's like Saul is nervous, they're all nervous. They're like, okay, David's too young for this. Not only that, but he's not wearing the armor that Saul wanted him to wear. He's like, this is crazy. But David didn't have fear. So I ain't got no time to spare, cried my eyes out, and for days upon days, such a heavy burden placed upon me. But when you go hard, your nays become yays. So there's this energy of him just feeling comfortable in himself. And then I heard the song, swag surfing. I'm swagging, I'm surfing. So it's just like, you know, a lot of you could just be like, when you're in that flow state, and for those who know what that flow state feels like, you know, it's like when you're watching people do extreme sports, there isn't fear within their soul at all, because they're in this place of pure godliness, of pure embodiment, of pure flow state. And when you're in that flow state, and when you're comfortable and you know yourself and you know your connection to your creator, you just know. It's just like this quiet knowing. It's this like swag. You're just like surfing the wave. You're just surfing your swag. And so there's just that energy of, and even, you know, the artist of that song is called Fly, and it's Fast Life Youngstas is what it stands for. But yeah, he's like, man, I got that swag, my hat matches my bag, I'm swagging, I'm surfing. And so a lot of my chosen ones, there's something here where when you're in your flow state, it makes other people really uncomfortable, because likely they've never really experienced a deep flow state before. And so you are someone that embodies, you know, mind, body, soul, and it all comes together in whatever it is that you do, and whatever it is that God has put you on this planet to do, and what he's ordained you to do. And it makes other people uncomfortable because they haven't quite found their flow, they haven't quite found their swag. And here you are, and that's why it attracts, you know, criticism loud and clear. But you don't even concern yourself with that, because again, you know, and you're following your flow. Now, the other thing here is the song Crawl by Chris Brown. So this is kind of going back to the beginning of the channeled messages that were coming through. Everybody sees it's you, but I'm the one who lost the view. So there's someone here who could have second guessed you, or could have just downplayed you, someone here who didn't really want to see your worth, and perhaps other people around them really admired you, perhaps other people around them really appreciated you. But someone in particular, this could have been a boss, this could have been a family member, this could have been a lover or a potential lover, who is now seeing your worth. They're seeing you stand in your power, and all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, everybody sees it's you, I'm the one who lost the view. everybody says we're through. I hope you haven't said it too. Where do we go from here? So then he says, if we crawl till we can walk again, then we'll run till we're strong enough to jump. Then we'll fly till there is no end. So let's crawl, crawl, crawl back to love. So there's an energy here of crawling back to love. But he says, until then we'll fly. So big emphasis on flying. Someone here could quite literally be like a plane trip away. Someone could be in another country. They could be across the country. They could be states away. There's something here where there's definitely distance at play. And someone here wants to bridge the gap. And I'm hearing mind the gap. So that could be, I know that's like on the subway station of the train in London in the UK. So there's definitely an energy here of maybe someone from the UK or someone wanting to go over there. That is just for a small few. Okay, so then the other thing here was Isaiah 60:1-3. He says, arise, shine, for your light he's come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. See, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness is over the people. But the Lord rises upon you, and his glory appears over you. Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your dawn. So again, just the same song that I was channeling at the beginning by Bryan Adams, it's a new dawn, it's a new start. So there's something here of a new dawn, a new start, as you rise, as you shine. So chosen ones, you are being put in the spotlight at this time. You are supposed to shine, you are supposed to prevail. So for my extreme sports people, get out there and go for it. For my artists, for my singers, for my musicians, put your time into your craft. Like I said in one of the previous readings, 90 minutes a day is the bare minimum. Like if you really look at top musicians, I'm pretty sure it's like 4 hours a day is what they should be spending or what they spend on their music. And a lot of top musicians spend more time than that. So there's an energy here of even if you just start with 10 or 15 minutes a day, because looking back at the song by Chris Brown with Crawl, you know, he says, we'll crawl till we can walk again, then we'll run till we're strong enough to jump, then we'll fly. So for some of you, you could also be recovering. You could be recovering from any sort of illness, sickness, any sort of accidents. You could also just be recovering from something that took a strong emotional or mental toll on you. Some people could just be recovering their finances, but there is a strong emphasis starting out 2023 with a recovery process, and some people really feeling like they're just totally gutted. And what I want to speak to over those people who just feel like they've been gutted, they feel like life is unfair, things have been stripped from them, things have been taken from them. God says this is where you have to begin, because it's just like a tumor. You don't, doctors don't go in and just take out like part of a tumor and be like, oh, we're gonna leave some of it. We're just gonna take out most of it, but we're gonna leave some of it. No, you have to go in and you have to take the whole thing out. And so there's something here where, God is coming into our lives at this time, and he's going into the core root of the issue, and he's taking the whole thing out. And even though for some people it may be really painful, it may be really frustrating, you feel like, what do we do from here? Even if the Chris Brown song isn't in regards to love or relationship, it can just be in regards to your own life. You're like, where do we go from here? Okay, I'm just going to start with crawling, and then eventually I can walk again, and then eventually I'll be able to run and jog again, and then eventually I can jump, and then I can fly. And so there's something here about doing things in bite-sized bits. And this makes me think of like after my surgeries a couple months ago, like I'm huge on squat every day because I know that it's just a really good thing for me. And at first I just had to start out with body weight, and I have barbells and plates, and I've done powerlifting competitions. And so at first my mind was like, I'm not doing much because I'm not doing weight. And then I was doing the barbell, and I was like, okay, well, here's some weight. And then I put plates on, and I would slowly add on more and more. And it's something that, months later now, it's like, the definition is back, like I'm seeing the visual results, but it's because I started small. I started with the crawl until I could walk again, until I could run again. It's like I started with just the body weight functional movement pattern and walking, and then, you work up to putting weight on the plates, and then you work up to jogging. And so there's something here where you just put in a little bit, but it's consistency that matters, and consistency over time specifically. All right, I love you guys, and if you'd like a personal reading, hit me up.